If you're sick of bullshit TV that's always showing our people in a negative light, if you're looking for information that's simple and entertaining instead of boring, check out Business Bully TV. Business Bully TV has amazing programming, from celebrity interviews, documentaries, and movie reviews. You can watch exclusive programming that you can't get anywhere else from today's power players. Business Bully TV is available for free on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and streaming 24/7 and on demand at businessbully.tv. Once again, this is David Banner from the David Banner Podcast.
David Banner.
I just wanted to say that we never do free promotions without getting paid for it. But in this case, Jergens. For all of those lonely times doing that old Rona, when you get lonely, Jergens.
I don't even want to use that no more.
Tilly! Tommy Nova! Scott Parker! We miss you. Hey, bro,
Hi, guys.
do you know how many people were pissed off because you ain't consistently been here because you've been getting that bag and you've been working all over the world? People said it wasn't enough dry humor.
Wait, I'm back. I brought the sandpaper with me. Y'all
Word.
Word.
Corey!
Scott, I really miss you.
What up?
I really miss you.
What's up with you and
Even
them
though
damn
you do go in on me
dogs?
sometimes.
Hey, man, the dogs are good.
Corey, where your mask at? I'm surprised you even allowed to talk to us without that
He's
motherfucker
inside.
on.
He don't need the mask.
Only at the dog park.
Shit.
Oh, that's dope. Don't look.
Damn,
Don't
Corey,
look.
you didn't hear what Sally said? Let me cut the music off.
Sally always going in.
Sally
on the
said
floor.
he's surprised that you could even get on the podcast on the video without a mask. Because we know that no mask, no ass in your house.
Wow. Hey, man, don't start no won't be none.
Corey said, I edit this motherfucker. I edit all you motherfuckers out.
We ain't gonna let y'all fuck up his quarantine, love.
Scott, bro, bro, what you been doing? Like, let people know what's been up. They miss you, bro.
Oh, well, I had to dip out because I'm director of security for the Millennium Tour.
Mhm.
So, we only got 5 shows in, man, before they shut everything down due to this virus. So we were actually in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the sheriffs came and told us we had to shut the whole Coliseum down.
Damn.
Dang.
And so a couple of hours later, they did let that show go on that night. But probably 2 o'clock that morning, we got text messages saying, we got a 7 o'clock flights to LA. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so they shut the tour down, man. So I went out to LA and I quarantined myself for 2 weeks because I got elderly parents. So I had to make sure I was straight. And I've been in Florida ever since.
Right.
I've been in Florida for like 3 weeks, just trying to take care of my folks,
How was that quarantine, Scott?
Huh?
How was that quarantine?
It was fruitful.
Scott, before you start, like, I got a serious question though. How is it with having older parents, bro? I know that your process has to be a little bit different than other people, bro. Like, how have you been taking this? Because I know, like, me and you talk about, like, we do what we do, but
Yeah.
it's different when you got older parents. Can you explain that? Because somebody else out there is going through the same thing you are.
Well, you know my parents, man, and you know how vibrant they are. So sometimes we forget that my mother's 79 and my dad is 91
Mm-hmm.
because they don't present themselves that way. So when they shut all the tours down, that's the first time I really sat and thought about what I was going to do. And I was like, well, I can't bring this potential virus home to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it just reframes your whole way of thinking, man. I got to do everything different. I mean, if I'm going to the grocery store or the pharmacy for them, I'm masked up, gloved up, hood, shades, don't touch me, but.
That's kind of like normal.
And not
Real
necessarily,
problem I
and not
had,
necessarily
honestly,
for you.
Huh?
Not necessarily for you, but for the
Yeah,
safety
because
of
I
your
don't want
parents.
I honestly believe that I'm healthy enough to survive this virus, although I don't want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But more so than that, I definitely can't transmit it to my parents. So it makes me go overboard.
Right.
And so, I've had a couple of relatives. I had a relative stop by here, my mother's house 2 days ago, and I put her ass out the house.
That's what I was.
Scott, that
that's what I
sounds
was
exactly
hitting on.
like you.
Scott
that's
said,
what you want to know about?
Scott said he pointed to the door, said, "You got to get the fuck out of here, dog."
Hey, Scott, it's cool. My mama
Door.
ain't let me in the house, Scott. Oh.
I
But I
don't
don't
blame
know
her.
if that was because of Corona, though.
That hurt
It
my
was.
feelings.
That was some other
Yeah,
shit.
That was
that-
because of Corona. She was
That
like,
was
boy,
the-
you be out there. I'm like, dang, mama.
So you know my mom.
That was it.
My
See?
mom quarantined. Scott, you know my mom quarantined Justin because Justin is still working,
Oh, is he?
and so mama done quarantined off the house. Justin can't come past a certain point.
I
You know
don't
how my
blame him.
mom is.
Yeah, I don't blame him, man,
Serious
because
about it.
My mom
I mean,
said she don't give a
honestly, bro,
fuck.
in my social circle, in my personal social circle, we've lost 7 parents to this shit.
Wow.
I'm talking about people in my phone, not people that I know or Facebook friends. I'm talking about people who I have their phone number and speak to them periodically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take them kind of chances, man. So when my cousin walked up in here, she took 7 steps in the door and I was pointing her ass back the fuck outside. Got to get the fuck out of here.
Lee,
What up?
what you been up to this week, dog?
Nothing, man. I had to get used to this this lockdown little situation, you know, with all the gyms closed and all that. Like the first 2 weeks, I was like, man, all right, maybe this shit gonna open back up in 2 weeks. And then it was like, nah, it wasn't. I had to get a whole new regimen and shit. And people be like, oh, you know, you can do a home workout, do body weight. Man, I gotta do 1,000 fucking push-ups before I start feeling that shit. Like, I ain't
Wow.
got time for all that shit. Like, I need some weights. Like, I've been lifting since I've been 12 years old playing ball. Like, there ain't no push-ups about to do no shit for me. So, but like now I done got my regimen back, you know, getting back on the weights, coming to your spot, everything like that, getting in that gym. So I'm good
How
now.
many hours were you down there yesterday, bro? You was down there a long fucking time, bro.
That's like therapy, dog. Like when I can
You was
get in
about
that
there
gym.
about 3 hours, bro. You went overboard
Is there a
yesterday.
mirror
I did go overboard because it was like after I got done.
Now, we ain't got no mirror down there.
Nah, ain't no mirror. Why you thought I was looking in the mirror?
I thought maybe.
Hilarious.
Maybe
See how she
check
do
your
me?
out.
See how she be doing me? I do look at myself in the mirror though in the
know
gym,
you
don't
do.
I?
Corey.
What up? What up?
Give me my jerkins
My
back.
targets, man.
You gave it to me.
You gave them money already.
Corey, have you worked on your wrist at all? I got jerkins here, bro. Can you see my jerk? Yeah. Corey, you see that?
I see the Jergens.
So do you have
Like you already put you got a big squeeze on it already.
Hell yeah! Hey, bro, I ain't that.
Scott is back.
Yeah,
boy.
Scott is back.
Must have had a long morning.
Oh man.
I told you I brought the sandpaper back.
But Corey, seriously, bro, what have you been doing to sort of keep your sanity, bro?
Man, to be honest, I've been so overloaded with work that it's really like it's crazy. I feel like I'm working more now that I'm having forced to be home than I've ever worked before the lockdown. Like it's just
Corey basically trying to say he's rich.
I ain't saying all that, but the work is good. I'm definitely not complaining. It's like people are recognizing that. Okay, well, we can't do much, so we can still create music and still get it mixed and sent out without, you know what I mean? So that aspect of it, I got people calling me left and right to get mixes done and try to get stuff out and whatnot. So it's been good.
Cool. Scott, you been on your meditation? I sort of after I had the situation that you know about, man, the doctor I was surprised. The doctor actually told me to come off my meditation for a second just to let my brain do literally nothing at all. I know meditation is something that's important to you also. Like Scott, hey, you been on your meditation?
Yeah, well, my father, the only thing that controls his high blood pressure is meditation. So I've been meditating since I was about 7 just to hang out with him. And my dad takes 7, 8, 9 medicines on any given day, but none of it controls his high blood pressure. The only thing that does is meditate. So I get up every morning at sunrise, and my meditation is a little different now. I incorporate it as part of my stretching and like yoga routine. So, a lot of times I try to do it outside in the morning sun, but regardless, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm going to get it in somehow. But it's just a good way to start the day and get yourself centered and, kind of take a step back before we step into this crazy world. So I probably like Zoe said, I've probably been meditating and praying more now. Just because I've, actually incorporated it into my work schedule. So,
we haven't done our sections in a while. But before we go into our sections, Regina, we're going to go into a black business. It's been a long time since we've done a black business. Regina, are you ready for a black business?
Yeah, what you got?
So listen, y'all, the reason why we came up with today's show was just because you're right. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. it was because of our black business. And that means that we don't have a black business because of what happened.
Dun, dun, dun. I just sounded.
And I'll tell y'all what happened really quick, and then we're going to come back to it. Then we're going to go into Sally, Scott, and Regina's section. But what happened was we had a business that we all support. Like daily, like every day. Stop, Regina. You talk about Sally.
You saw what she did.
No,
she did this, though. She
no,
said,
I didn't. No, I didn't.
I saw you.
I know, but when you said
That
it,
was
it made
me,
me
though.
think- No, but when you said it, it made me think about it. So I
She
wanted
just
to,
like
you know.
She just like
I'm sorry.
why did it make you so mad, though?
No, but let me
Go
finish.
ahead,
Let me finish the
your
story. All right,
first.
so we use this product, and I've been on it for about 4-5 years now.
Yeah, you've been on way longer than that.
And I introduced it. I was actually surprised because Lee, you don't drink. I mean, well, you don't participate in that. And then you almost started opening it up and snorting it. You started drinking this. I mean, using it so much. And so Regina ended up doing research. I found out that it was based in Georgia. Regina found out that it's actually a black business. So Regina called them this morning and said, hey, we want to do a section on you guys. And they were really hesitant. You want to take it from there? No, go
You're
ahead.
doing a great job.
We can edit it out if you want to. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said that we support your company. We all really like it, and would like to highlight you in our section today. And they were kind of hesitant. And they said, okay. And I hung up and I kind of called you and had a conversation about it. And
I told Regina, I said, well, you should call them back
yes, you did.
and see if they want to be announced as a black business, because everybody doesn't believe in what we believe in, and they may not be comfortable with that. Lo and behold, Regina called back, and that was the case. And Regina was pissed. No, she wasn't pissed.
I was hurt.
She was hurt. And I told Regina, I said, this may surprise you, but you really can't blame people for the way that they feel. There may be rationales and reasons why. And just because what we do, and actually Brother Edward Muhammad taught me this, just because you're right doesn't mean your reaction to it is the right thing to do. You know, and I told Regina, they're in health food. A lot of our people do not live a healthy lifestyle. They're a very successful company, and you don't know, them announcing that may end up hurting them. And the thing is, if they have a successful business and they're able to accommodate our people in other ways, our people have to learn no different than white people's forces. Like you got the Air Force, you got the Marines, you got the Navy, you got the Air. Everybody has to play their section, and everybody doesn't have to announce what they do. That's what we do, you know. And until our people become conscious enough to support those that are around them, we may end up doing them a disservice by doing that. And Regina was like, "Damn, thank you. I never thought about that."
Yeah, because I was like, do I still support them?
Yeah, Regina was about to cut them motherfuckers. Regina was about to cut them motherfuckers off.
Because I
I'm
really
with
support
Regina.
them.
Fuck them. If you shame to be black, fuck you.
Well, no, it's not.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Scott's back.
Here we go.
Scott's back.
He's back.
No, but explain, Scott, what you mean, though.
No. I was really just joking. Now, you know, to each his own. You know, everybody has to run their business the way they want to. Me personally, I'm black before anything. So, you know, I'm an outspoken black man from a proud, historically black college that you don't know about, Banner. But anyway, I don't hide my
And I'm
blackness.
actually ashamed,
I
though.
wear it right on my sleeve.
Right.
So,
Well,
you know,
we do. That's our logo.
You know what I'm saying? You can either take it or leave it with me. I don't care either way. And if my business suffers, so be it. You know, black people spend $7 trillion a year. It's enough money within our hood to survive without having.
But do they always spend it though?
Yeah, but
They do always
Where
spend
do
it.
they
I'm
spend
talking about
it?
with us.
But do they spend it with us? Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to
But
say.
But do they spend it with us?
sometimes we
Well,
don't
that's
know
on us
about
to
these
make it fun
businesses
if they'll
though,
come get it.
and that's why we do this section, correct?
Right. But the thing is this is what I'll say. You have white businesses that act like they're for black people and they're not.
That's true.
There's a star, and I'm not gonna name his name. He called me and was like, David Banner, I'm ready to get back on the front line. I said, the fuck if you are. I need you to stay because
They right where you are.
at the time he had a residency in Vegas. I was like, we need you to stay in Vegas. So if something happened while we on the front line, we could come get some money. I could go perform like a pimp 37 times and get a quick check and come out doing your set. Like you had people like Harry Belafonte who funded most of the big shit that happened for black people, from We Are the World to Beat Street. But nobody really knew until now that he was as active as he is. What I'm saying is there is no right way. You have so many Christians who think Christian is the way, so many people who think Muslim is the way, so many people who think that Buddhism is the way. Well, maybe it's a combination of all.
I agree.
And who are we to judge the way that people do what they do as long as the end result? And you remember I told you that about the company. I said, if you felt like there was some fucking sellouts and that they were ashamed of being black, that's different.
Yes.
I said,
Right.
but if they're strategically placing their business and they are successful the way that it is, I said they need to hold on to that shit for about 10 years and
I agree.
until they're solidified in what they do.
So
you
you're
know?
saying some of us have to, as you mentioned, the branches of the military. So some of us have to be Navy SEALs. Is that what you're saying?
Regina, yes.
Okay, so I'm
Come
gonna
on,
keep. I'm
Regina,
gonna keep
shit.
supporting. I want to keep supporting. So it was a little shaky this morning, but I'm back.
Now, if we find out, historically that they some flaw ass people, fuck them, and then we'll get on this bitch and talk about them like a dog. If that's the case, but I didn't feel that in my spirit, and they are in the health food. Scott, we even talked about it. When we first moved to LA, some of the things, it was going to take a while for us to start explaining some of the things that our people needed to do health wise, just
Right.
because they were not there mentally yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To me, it's just all about intention and focus and purpose. What's your purpose? If it makes if it's a good decision from a business standpoint and it's not hurting our people, I say go for it.
Mhm.
But if you're purely on some bullshit that you're trying to shy away from people knowing that you're black,
Mhm.
then that's a whole nother situation. I don't think that's the case here, but I don't really know the details. But just in general, you have to do what's best for your business as well as our
Absolutely.
people. I get it.
Corey,
Yes, sir.
what's your opinion?
I agree. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like Scott said, if they just were ashamed of being black, that's one thing. But you have to understand, in the world, it's just like with everything. You look at sports. You have to put on a certain uniform in order to play that sport, to be on the field to play that sport. And so the way I interpret what they're doing is that's their uniform they're putting on to be successful in their realm. And so it's not a diss to us as black folks. It's just saying, okay, for me and my business, this is my strategy. This is how I'm targeting my customer base. And that's just their strategy. And to me, I can agree with that.
And
So if I find out that game ain't good, they getting traded.
Exactly.
Out of here.
right. And the other thing that I told Regina, our section is for businesses who need it. Like after me and Regina talked it out, they really don't need no help. Like every time we try to go and get this product, Scott, I think you know what we're talking about, don't you? You know what we're talking about?
The brown bottle.
No. But it come from the same place though.
Oh, I know what you're
I
talking
drink
about.
it every,
I know what
yeah.
you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, like it's hard to get that motherfucker. Like they don't need no help. So my thing was, let's give that spot to somebody who really needs it, and
And want it.
we'll lead. The court is still out on them, and if we find out,
I mean, but
I don't think
I don't like
think that
the
they're
court is
hiding.
out.
I just want to say I don't think that they're hiding or anything in that order. I just wanted to put that out. there. I think it's just
I'm
their
just
business.
saying, like, I get it, like when y'all saying like, oh, if we find out they selling out and all that, they don't want to be black and that thing. But if I got a company and I don't just be like, oh, this is a black-owned business, I'm a 6'2", dark-skinned, big-ass black dude. I can't hide that I'm fucking black. That's so any meeting I take is gonna be clear that I'm black. I don't have to be front lining it like this is a black business. If my shit good and y'all all buying it, outside of that, what difference does it make?
But we're not asking them to front line it.
But it's no different than like if I'm trying to sell my house. And I get a white real estate agent to represent me so that the people that are potentially going to buy the house have no idea that I'm a black owner. Because the only reason why I can relate is because back in the day when my parents were trying to sell their house in California, they got a white real estate agent. They took down all the black pictures in the house because they knew that if white folks came up in that house and saw it was owned by black folks, that would cut off. They might not be interested in buying that house. So it's almost like they had the white.
Exactly. I have no problem with that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't. If it's when it comes to business and and it's a bottom line involved, I don't give a fuck. Like, I ain't saying sell out or be like hide that you black, but if sometimes you got to bend certain things because the product we talking about, typically they use it more than we do. That's just the truth,
right? And that was the same thing that I told Regina. But what I am saying is when we say the court is out, you know the way that you felt about the product, and you know the way that you felt when you made that phone call. When I say the court is out, well, it was a reason why she felt that way. So if it affected her personally, then it's still out. That's like when you meet somebody and you get a feeling about them. Well, it's still out. Whether you do something about it or not, it's something that made you feel that way. So the court is still out personally. You know, it's not like we're going to go on a smear campaign.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no. It's just that.
And we're not saying that they said that they don't want it or that they denied coming here. It was something that we wanted to do.
I actually made the decision not to do that. If I told Regina, if they're hesitant at all, then let's not do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's do it with people who really want us to actually promote their product, so we don't have to even worry about that.
And I don't want to hurt their business.
No.
Because we even talk about ways to expand. Mm-hmm. We talked about that. Yeah. That's not front. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And the reason why we decided to do this show, because I think people would be surprised that I feel that way. In business, all right, I always tell people, there's decisions that you have to make. As a freedom fighter, I made a decision with my life that that's how I was going to live my life. And I knew that from a business perspective, it would hurt me in some ways. But I know somebody has to do it in order for us to get to the point where it won't matter what. Everybody can be black, whether they want to or not. They won't have to hide who they are if they choose to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And that's sad that we have to do that.
Yeah, but that's the reality of life.
If you look at this as a war, which it is, we need frontline soldiers out there doing hand-to-hand combat, sniping, shooting, whatever. Mm-hmm. But we also need people behind the scenes doing all that, all the infrastructure work that makes this thing flowing. You don't have to know who they are. You know what I'm saying? I think it's enough room for people to fill all those spaces. And we don't know why they made that decision. All we can do is wait and see.
Yeah. And that's what I meant about the court is out, about how we personally feel about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, y'all too.
Yeah, us. Yeah. Well, we all.
I don't feel that. No, I'm saying I consume, but that didn't make me feel no different about it. Like at all. It was like, oh shit. Put it like this. I didn't think it was us that owned it to begin with. So the fact that we do it all that's a win for me in my eyes.
If you remember, that's what I told you. I was like, we would have never fathomed that was a black company in the first place.
So the fact that was like a win. Like, oh shit, it is bet.
And I think that within
that's why I was like, yes, like wow, like we really support and love this. So when it was like, I was like, wow. I mean, I get it now, but
yes, I didn't have that low from it. It was kind of like, it was a plus.
And to
but
all
then
of
probably
you
because it was me personally, I felt that way.
And that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
And I brought it to you. It was second-hand information at that point. So you weren't personally tied to it like that. Like it was my personal experience. So that's probably why.
Because it really bothered her. Because it bothered her at first, like, damn, like that hurt my feelings. And then it turned into some like, should I keep drinking this bullshit? Not that it's bullshit. Because I'm actually consuming it now. But that was the reason why.
This is a real conversation that needs to be had.
Right, and that was the reason why we pushed the actual show that we were going to have back, because I think that's something that I don't think we could actually answer it here. And that was the reason why I told you it's so important for you to talk, bro, because there's probably more people that feel like you. Like exactly how you feel. That was the reason why I thought it was so important to have you on this show, is because, bro, your opinion is the opinion of most people who walk the street. That's why I want you, like, don't ever, like, I need you to give your opinion, no matter if it may feel uncomfortable here or not, because that's the only way that we can work it out. I don't have all the answers. I don't believe that I'm right. It's just that I'm a little bit older, and I've traveled around the world, and I've experienced a bunch of shit.
But I'm saying, like, you even know that happens all the time. You can even take it all the way to the street level. Any motherfucker that hustle, it might be a nigga that, like, he don't really deal with such and such, so you got to go over there with that shit, because you can't let that nigga know you getting it from me, or he ain't gonna buy that shit. So we gonna act like you got it.
Well, you brought that.
So
you
I'm
made
just
that real.
saying, so you have to do that sometimes. That's even us with us on a street level. Like, you got to do that shit sometimes if you want, because at the end of the day, it's a business.
Shit.
So if you ain't hurt, like Corey said, if you ain't hurting nobody or doing nothing detrimental to black people, you got to ride with that shit.
We just did it with some beats.
Back on these
We
beats.
just did it on some beats. I didn't want to do it to man look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
No, for real though.
No, that
you
is
know?
true.
Yeah.
But what I'll say, these are the conversations. You remember how I tell y'all we got to get naked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are more of the conversations that we do need to have
We definitely do.
in order for us to work this shit out.
But you,
Well, you had to
you was
talk
the
me
main
off
one.
the
I
edge.
was trying to do this for you, but you wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Stop it, Scott. I kept doing this, Regina.
I didn't see you though.
But you
So
the
busy
main
talking
one
about
that
the
always
product.
taught me, like,
Thank you.
it's a difference between personal and it's business. Because you know,
There is
because you the one that always told me, like, because I'd be like,
He said something mean.
What'd he
You didn't
say?
catch it. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead. Hey, Corey, give him a drum roll. That's mean, Scott. I heard
we
you.
lost the moment now. Corey,
No,
cut
go
it in.
He
I was
said,
just saying, you probably wiped the coal out of Bob Dylan's eye like that at Thanksgiving.
all right, Scott. That's one.
Scott, you crazy.
I'm a piss. I'm a piss in your bed and let it dry out.
And it's not personal, but sometimes it's personal. You can't control it.
no, but like,
To me.
he told me, like, I remember he was
Like,
like,
I
if they
don't
can
wanna
get
feel
the,
that
if the
way.
job is getting done and it ain't hurting some shit, like, you got to go ahead and ride it. Because I used to
Yeah, you
like to
do,
do
but
certain stuff with
sometimes you
people if
have-
I just didn't personally like them.
Sometimes you have to get to that point. You don't just like, okay, I'm gonna ride automatically. Sometimes it is personal. You have to go, okay, let me check myself. This is business.
Well, one thing that I'll say is, and it's sort of in the middle of both of you all. What I don't personally subscribe to is business. It's not personal. I think that's some white folk shit. It's all personal, but sometimes you have to get past your personal feelings to get the job done. Like you
Like
doing
logic versus emotion.
right.
You
You
gotta put logic
dealing business because you don't like most people.
So any way you look at it, for me, I don't really give a fuck. I have this small hand circle full of people.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's all kind of be like, I don't really fuck with you no way, so we just got to get this done. And if you're going to get it done effectively, then we going to do it.
And what I've learned to do, like all of us, everybody that's in here for the most part, we've been dealing with each other from anywhere from 5 to 20 years. You know what I mean? For the most part. That's the reason why we fuck with each other. And I think that's why this podcast is so great, because we'll die and kill for each other. You know what I'm saying? But what I learned is we have to put ourselves in positions where we can have enough power where our children can literally fuck with just good people if they chose to, and they don't have to deal with this shit. Because if you think about white folks, I thought about this. White people can shoot a movie and do everything in that movie without having any black person involved in it. You know,
True.
One of the things that I said that I wanted, and I told you this, Regina, when we started working, I want to do one project, whether it's music, whether it's a movie, where there's no white person involved at any level. Just because that's true freedom. Not that I don't want to have any white people involved, not that I don't want to deal with white people, but I don't think we'll ever totally be free as long as we depend on them for anything. We can talk all the shit that we want to, but if we got to come back and get their electricity, you gonna bow. If you got to come back and get their food and get their water, that's why I think it's so important for our children, as much as we want to entertain and all that kind of shit, we gonna have to start steering our kids towards something else. Being a fucking doctor, coding, like everybody want to fucking rap, dude. So where are the people that's gonna take care of us when we become elders? Like all of this shit that's going on with this pandemic, we gotta run. They were even talking about how China, I think it was, I don't like being, I like being right and exact, so I'm gonna bring the numbers lower, and I know that they're higher than this, but there was like 85% of all of the medical things that we use come from China. So literally right now, if China said, fuck America, from a medical perspective, we would be in a fucking hole at least for 5 months because we depend on them so much. We import so much stuff in. You know, so just from a business perspective, like, Scott, let me ask you a question, bro. The reason why we call this show, because we actually went to the topic, it got so fucking good.
Right.
Are we gonna ride it or we gonna
Ride
it? All right. Scott, tell me a situation, bro, that you've been in where although you were right, maybe some of the ways that you reacted were not the right thing to do.
Oh, that's happened so many times. I mean, there's been times at work when I'm doing security where, you know, as a security guard, if you see me actually fighting, then I haven't done my job well. I haven't mapped out that venue. I haven't done my escape routes. I haven't put enough of a barrier between me, my package, and whoever in order to keep them out of harm's way. And that's led me to actually having to touch somebody. Mm-hmm. But most often, the times that has happened, it's been more of an emotional thing for me when somebody's really tried me and I lost my cool.
Right.
I remember one time specifically, I was with D'Angelo and something happened inside a convenience store and I exploded. I actually threatened to blow the store up. Like I just lost my mind in the store, just went insane, you know, and right when I was getting ready to turn some shit over at the cash register, I caught myself and forgot it out. I remembered I was at work. Right. And so I had to pull that back because, you know, that goes one more step. Not only am I arrested, but I probably don't work in this industry anymore.
Right.
And so if I wasn't at work, it might have been more of an acceptable thing to do. But because I was at work, I had to check that real fast. Yeah. And so for me, it always becomes a decision of, if you act on emotion first, a lot of times that might not be the right thing to do, depending on what your goals are. Now, if my goal is just to be right in that store, then I can go ahead and reach across there and slap this motherfucker. But if my goal is to maintain, you know, my standing in this business, which I worked for 15, 17 years to achieve, then I got to pull that back. And I don't want to, but I have to. Even on this last tour, when that dude threatened me, I wanted to put his teeth through his throat. But I was at work.
Remember the Confederate flag tattoo? You remember the Confederate flag tattoo?
Oh my God.
I know that was bad because Scott actually called me. And if Scott is calling me to talk him down, it's a Corey, fucking problem.
We were on the tour bus, Corey. I was in upstate New York. No, we was coming from Boston to Manhattan.
Is it okay for you to talk about this?
Huh?
Is it okay for you to talk about this? I don't want to get you, you know.
I don't give a fuck.
He's back.
Well, fucking Scott, tell it all.
Long story short, the bus driver had a rebel flag tattoo on his shoulder, Corey. It was all I could do not to go up there and rear naked choke his ass in his driver's seat. I mean, you got a bus full of black people, and y'all done sent this motherfucker with a rebel flag on his skin. I didn't say hello to him, goodbye, nothing. Move the fuck out my way. And if he would have said one cry, I had to call Banner like, Banner, I'm going to slap this motherfucker. And Banner was like, don't do that.
Yeah, bro. Like,
but Banner also told me, you need to go talk to the artist and see if you can get rid of it. Which is true, because if he goes so far as to put that on his skin, how far will he go?
Right.
But if I had proactively, you know what I'm saying, escalated that situation, I'd be wrong because I'm at work. Now, if he just rolled up on my property with that shit, I could tell him to get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm at work, so I had to make a different decision. So I actually had to sit on a bus for hours with a motherfucker with a rebel flag fucking tattoo on his skin.
And in plain sight at that.
In plain sight.
Yeah. Sully, anything that you know you were right, but your reaction may have not been the right thing to do?
Man, it's a lot of times that I could riddle off different things, but the biggest thing I learned is there's a difference between being right and winning. So what do you want to win that situation, or you just want to be right in that moment?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a big difference between the two. And my whole objective in anything is always to win. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, being emotional about it in that moment, you might be right, but it's a better way you can calm down and handle it or go about it to when you win the whole overall situation. And that's just my main thing.
I'll give y'all a quick example that Mr. Moody taught me, and it changed my whole life. This guy had done something wrong. And it made me so mad that we were gonna go see him personally. and motivate him in a physical way to maybe not do the wrong things that he was doing. And I called Mr. Moody, and Mr. Moody said, give him whatever he asked for. I said, huh? What the fuck I'm gonna give him everything he asked for? He said, how much is it? And then, you know, we didn't threw that amount of money in the strip club before.
Not me.
He said, you are still living, though.
I'm not throwing it, though.
It's still, yeah. And he told me, he said, how much is it? He said, give it to him. I said, why? I was like, but I ain't do nothing wrong. He said, how much would it cost for you to go to court? I said, about $70,000. He said, and if you mess around and hurt him, you end up going to jail, your life is over, or you end up catching a charge. He said, this is the best time in your life. He said, you can be right if you want to and walk around with a $70,000 bill.
That's that right.
And a charge.
Or you could go ahead and give him what he asked for. He's out of your life for fucking ever. You done learned the lesson. And you know how to make sure that don't happen again, and you've collected another spirit. Because every time you engage with somebody, that spirit is with you from the rest of your life. And when somebody else possesses that, you can see that shit when it comes. Scott, we can see a lot of the motherfuckers that was in our life back when we were living in LA. We see them motherfuckers in other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Some of those bad experiences that we had, and then some of those good spirits that we had while we were all living in LA at the same time when we first met. We have we collect all of those spirits, bro, and we use those bad times, because I say LA specifically because LA was one of the hardest times, at least in my life, and one of the best times in my life. Like, most of the good and bad things that really molded my life happened while I lived in LA. So I always use LA as a way to say, look at this spirit, or I'll even call that spirit that person, or I experienced this lawyer, or I experienced this accountant. So now when y'all ask me questions, y'all be like, damn, how you know that? I said, because I fucked up so bad the last time.
And that's what you told me today.
Right. But what I was saying to y'all about this situation with Mr. Moody, it took me about 4 years to understand how right he was. Sometimes our ego will fuck up everything in our life, and we'll end up losing so much. Or like, let's say you married and your husband does something, one thing, right? But he does everything else right. So you end up being so hurt by that one thing that you end up losing the 80% and then looking for the 20%. And then when you sit back and look at life later, shit, you could have just took that and still had 80, you know?
But you was right. You got your point across.
Corey.
What's the head movement you were doing, Scott?
That's you.
Whoa. I felt some kind of way about that.
Black monkey nigga.
Corey.
Banner, if you think about it, to me, the person that personifies what Lee is talking about being right versus winning, if you look at the situation that Omarion went through and how he handled it, you know what I'm saying? He went through a situation, if those of you that are listening aren't familiar with it, it's not for me to tell it, but he was in a very difficult situation for an extended period of time. And there's a number of different ways he could have handled it. And he chose to handle it the way that we're talking about in terms of looking at the overall goal, stepping back and seeing what's it going to take to really win. And if you look at where he is now, 18 months later, he did win.
Yeah.
He did win.
Yeah,
you know, and he didn't.
I definitely did.
Yeah.
And if he had acted on emotion in those moments, any one of those times, he wouldn't have ultimately won.
And what's funny about it, by man law, several of those situations I would have been justified.
Very justified.
All the way justified.
From an ego perspective.
Yeah.
Because
the people, you know, the individuals involved would have deserved whatever they got.
Yeah.
You know, but that didn't serve his overall goal, so he decided to handle it a different way. And I'm not saying it was easy. I saw him sitting around a lot of times trying to conjure up, and it takes more strength.
It definitely does.
You know what I'm saying? To go slap somebody or hit somebody or just do something on emotion, that's easy. But to sit back and take it and really strategize and logically look at your life and see where you want to be and what actions it's going to take to get there, that's real strength to me.
And discipline.
No, I was just saying that damn acting off that emotion, like coming from where I come from, acting off emotion, going either you or somebody else going to end up dead or in jail. One of the two. Like, you got to think about that shit, because any little thing, like when it get to going down, you acting off emotion, you can be the hothead, but if a cat got you that time, he got the drop on you that time, that's your ass. Like, you can't help. It could go either way when you getting busy.
Dave Anderson is passionate about helping our people get out of the rat race and into entrepreneurship. You've seen him on The Breakfast Club, Forbes, Black Enterprise, CNN, and Fox News, spitting facts on business and entrepreneurship for our people. He's generated over $54 million for his clients last year, and he wants to help you grow your business. Go to thebusinessbully.com. That's TheBusinessBullY.com and connect with an amazing group of people that can help you start, grow, and expand your business. You don't have to worry about the recession when you control your income. Head to thebusinessbully.com right now and sign up for his Inner Circle Boot Camp. You'll get top-notch training, access to marketing, and a list-building software, and 24/7 support and more for one low price. And check him out at thebusinessbully.com. Once again, David Anderson, thank you for your support. This is the David Banner Podcast. I never forget this, man. Somebody had done something to me, and I was pulling my pistol, and Scott literally, I'm serious, Scott literally, why you laughing, bro? You so fucking mean, dude.
This shit is funny.
It's not funny, Scott. I was pulling.
It is now that we know you didn't shoot the person.
I was pulling my pistol, and Scott, it's so funny. This is how trained Scott is. Scott is the wildest motherfucker that you can meet. But when it's wild times, he's the calmest. He literally, it was like the voice of the Buddha or something. He was like, don't do it. I was like, this motherfucker, I ain't just some punk ass bitch. I shoot this mother. Scott, he didn't grab the gun. He touched me. He was like,
touched his arm.
He was like, this may not be what you want to do, brother. And then literally, we pulled off of the road. We pulled off of the road and pulled to the side.
And stop.
And we just sat there for a minute, and I felt like a fucking idiot. Because even though it was that serious, unless somebody is coming, and this is how I feel about cops, unless somebody is coming at you with a knife or a gun, it's never really justified. You know what I'm saying? We may even got away scot-free, but what we would have had to do, the months of trials and...
It would still be going on right now.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah. Hey, Corey.
That's a great balance in your relationship, though.
It is. It is. What?
I didn't want to go to jail either. Fuck that. We going home tonight.
Corey, has there ever been a time in your life where you were right, but maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, or you're justified?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of different situations. I can remember times where I was right and the other person clearly wasn't right, but I had to overly compensate for them not being right. And for me, it's driving while black. I mean, there's been a time where growing up in Cali, I was 16 years old, get pulled over by a white officer, trying to find something wrong, trying to find a reason to drag me out the car, and I obeyed to the T. Talking as calm and as proper as possible, and he was steadily just trying to poke that bear, trying to get that emotion up out of me to give him a reason to pull me up out the car. And it got me to the point where I was damn near in tears of stuff he was saying. I was 16 years old, and I just remember really keeping it cool to the point that I look back at that now, that could have saved my life.
Yeah. And
it's just like knowing those moments where it's just like, I know I'm right. I know this dude is wrong, but if I react, it could be it.
So I'm sorry for interrupting, Corey. Give me 1 second. Let me ask y'all a question. And this is something that I deal with personally. I'm serious. I need y'all opinion on this. But I get to the point where how many times do I got to take the fucking high road? And somebody told me, well, we pray for God forgiveness every day, even though we know that we're going to do the same thing tomorrow, 9 times out of 10. But like, even as a man, we're still men, we're still women. Like, at what point? I just get so fucking, like, at night, I can't even lie. Sometimes it brings tears to my face, and you know I don't give a fuck about nothing. I just get tired of always fucking taking the high road, especially when I know I'm stronger than most people. I know I have more guns than most people. I just get tired of fuck. Bro, you know how many times me and you done had that conversation. Like, when
It's kind of like, man,
Never.
sometimes you gotta take it. It's like
keep
playing a
taking the high
series. It's
road.
like you might lose a game, but you playing for 7 though. So you can take 3 L's, but that fourth win gonna make you win the whole thing.
And you gotta keep
You see what
taking
I'm
the high
saying?
road because you have a higher purpose. So
Like you
And
can't.
when you achieve
God
that
do it
higher
every day.
purpose, when you achieve that higher purpose, that's why you're taking it now, so we can be free one day.
Word. Okay.
The payoff is in the end when you can hire whoever you want to and don't have to deal with anybody that you don't want to deal with, including when you got your own town in Georgia and the police can't mess with you, the tax man can't mess with you. You know what I'm saying? You're only doing business with who you want to do business with. That's why you take these short-term L's right now to your emotion.
Okay.
be
Because we got a
frustrated
big
when you
vision.
have
Our
to.
vision is
But
freedom,
still
bro.
take the high road.
Corey, I'm sorry. I interrupted, bro. Finish what you were saying.
No, I mean that was it. It was just, at the time I was 16, I didn't realize that at that moment looking at the bigger picture, but it was just one of those things where it's just like you're forced into a situation. Like you said, how long do we have to take that high road? And the reality is you look at it like we've been taking the high road so long, but look at where we are and look at how far we've come. And so sometimes you just have to look at it like, okay, there's a reason, like Scott said, there's a reason why we're taking the high road. It's a bigger thing.
Hold it or it's going to fall over. Tommy,
And
no.
the fact
I'm sorry.
that you were able to do that at the age of 16, Corey, is commendable.
Yeah, and
As a
lot
young
of that,
black man.
Yeah.
That's a testament to my parents sitting me down, having the conversation, driving while black, especially growing up as a black man in the 90s in California, where they were notorious for ripping us out the cars and whooping our ass.
Right.